her down.
Hey guys, how's it going today? We're going to do a quick review video here today of this machine. It's a 2015 Polaris Sportsman X2. We've had this machine since 2019. We bought it with 600 miles on it. It's now 2024, and I believe we're at 3,200 miles or roughly somewhere in there. So we've had it for a while now, and thought I'd just do a video on what we like, what we don't like, anything that's gone wrong on it. I think we may even put it up on the lift, take a look at it, see if there's any play in the bushings or anything, and just get a good look at it.
Okay, so like I said, this is a 2015 Sportsman X2. It's a 570. This has the dump bed on the back of it that can convert into a second seat for a second rider, so it is an official two-up machine, but also has this dump box on the back of it. This is a very handy machine to have. This is the most used machine we have. We also have a 2019 Sportsman 570 SP. I like that machine more so for trail riding than this one, but we also have a 2020 Sportsman 570 Touring. If my wife ever goes along, that's the machine we take. It's by far the most comfortable. But just for around our acreage here, this machine gets used by far the most out of any of our machines. So I believe the X2 models are geared a little bit differently. If I ever compare fuel consumption between all my machines, this one always seems to use more fuel than any of the others. I believe it's probably geared a little higher, so it's not gonna go quite as fast, but you're gonna get a little more torque out of it as well. Okay, so let's take a look here. We'll turn it on for a second here. Okay, as you can see, we've got 3,259 miles on it. That's just the last trip. Trip 1, trip 2, RPM, 243.8 hours. So yeah, 3,259 on the miles. So as far as service goes, I typically change the oil in all my machines once a year. This basically in the springtime is when I'm doing all my maintenance on my machines. I'll do the engine oil, the air filter, basically every year. And I know that's overkill. Most of the time the engine oil drains looking like new, but I'd just rather have, you know, nice new fluids in it. No more expensive than it is. I feel like it's cheap insurance. As far as the other fluids that need changed is the rear transmission and differential. That's basically all the same unit, all the same gearbox, right down in there. That as well as the front differential, right in there. Those I try to do every other year, and once again I think it's overkill. No more miles that I put on. I think it's overkill. Once again, the fluid on those comes out looking pretty much new. Okay guys, so like I said, this has the 570 motor, and I really enjoy the 570 motor in a quad like this. I feel like it's about a perfect size engine for the type of riding that I do. Trail riding, work around the house, the 570's got more than enough power for what I'm doing with it, and we go up some pretty steep inclines. I really enjoy that 570 motor. It's got a lot of punch to it. It's a great engine for sure. Someday I wouldn't mind having an 850 just for the heck of it, but it's definitely not needed whatsoever. I just kind of wanted to show you the belt still engages extremely smoothly. There's no jumping really whatsoever. That's one of the things I feel like Polaris has improved on over the years. I used to have a 2008 700 X2, and it was a great machine overall as well. But I did feel like the belt jumped a little bit, or the machine jumped a little bit when you first took off with it. So I do feel like their clutching has improved a little bit. On that note, like I said, I did have an 08 700 X2. It was a great machine. It had the box on the back here as well. Before that, I had a 2004 Polaris ATP, which I think stood for all-terrain pickup. It was kind of their first version of a machine with a dump box on the back. So that was I believe a 500. It was a carbureted, and it was a great machine as well. I just needed we go to the mountains a lot to ride, so I wanted something fuel injected. So we'll kind of take a look at the controls here. So one of the things the X2s do have is turf mode, and if you don't know what that is, it basically unlocks the rear differential. So on a typical four-wheeler, your back two wheels are going to be locked together, so when you corner in like say in gravel or in dirt or grass, it's going to tear it up just a little bit as you turn, because your two wheels, one of them's trying to turn faster than the other as you turn, and they can't because they're locked together. So turf mode opens that up to where it essentially drives off one wheel, but when you turn, your two rear wheels can turn at different speeds. So it's very good on your yard, hence turf mode. And it's easier. You can turn tighter with it if you're ever on the trail and if you get to a dead end, you have to turn around. Flip that thing into turf mode and you can turn around pretty easy. Turf mode is typically what I leave it in around here. Then the next selection is 2x4, and that just locks the two rear wheels together. Trail riding or whatever, I will kick it into 2x4. The next selection is 4x4. So 4x4 system, I won't talk about it too much here, but I do really like the Polaris 4x4 system. It allows you to, if you want to, you can pretty much leave it in 4x4 when you're trail riding the whole time, and it will automatically engage and disengage as needed. Some people like that, some people don't. I really do. One thing I've noticed is it is almost instantaneous engagement whenever it's needed. So if one of your wheels comes up, like say your right front wheel would come up and hit a big boulder it needs to climb. I've seen other machines like Can-Am with the Visco lock. That type of system, it takes a little bit longer, it hesitates a little bit to engage all four wheels. 99% of the time it's not going to matter. But just overall, I do really like this Polaris 4x4 system. Have not had any issues with the 4x4 system whatsoever. The last selection here is 4x4 with automatic descent control. That option does come with the X2 four-wheeler. So That's basically for whenever you are going downhill on a steep angle. It will use engine braking, but it will do so in four-wheel drive. So you have traction from all four wheels, and it works amazing. You can go down extremely steep angles and not even have to touch the brake. So I do really like that as well. Over here, things are, you know, it's pretty much, I think this has not changed on any Polaris machine for many years, as far as I know. This is just a horn button we use. We took these machines up to South Dakota back in 2019, and to ride on the highways you have to have a mirrors and a horn, and can't remember if that's it or not, but so that's what that's for. This machine does have power steering on it. I've ridden several machines that did not have power steering, and currently all of my machines do have power steering. For the most part, I feel like the Polaris machines steer really well without it. However, for a work machine like this, it is really nice to have. For example, in the fall, I will put a sprayer in the back of this to spray my yard, and in my left hand I just keep my on-off switch for the pump, and so I'm just steering and driving with my right hand, and having that power steering makes it so much easier. The other thing it is nice for if you are trail riding in rocky areas. If you do not have power steering, sometimes you can, if you hit a rock just right, sometimes it'll take and jerk the handlebar back really hard. It really doesn't happen with power steering. At least it's never happened to me yet. I really have not had many issues with this thing at all. So there's been a couple things. A couple years ago, had to replace the battery. That is one area I feel like this era of Polaris Sportsman could improve on. I have had to replace the battery in all three of my Sportsmans, and like I say, this is the oldest one. It's a 2015. So I do feel like that's an area they could improve on, but not that big of a deal. I do keep a battery tender on them throughout the winter time as well. I think the only other issue I have had with this thing is one of these front CV axles, and I can't remember if it was the left side or right side, but one of the front CV axles broke last year. We had this thing in Arkansas. We were riding with the KCATV group, and my son was driving this machine, and he was bound and determined to get the thing stuck, so he was ripping through some pretty good mud holes, and when he first went in, all four wheels were spinning. When he came out, only three were spinning. So we did go ahead and we put two new front CV axles on the thing. We just replaced them both. I think that's the only thing I've had go wrong with this thing, and it was kind of abused as far as that goes, as far as the front axles go. So overall, it's been a great machine. Really can't complain about it too much at all. Okay, guys. So now I'm gonna take a little time and show you the two configurations you can use this machine in. The first one, obviously, right now it's set up to use with the dump box, and it also has a little tailgate back here. It does work pretty nice. I've used it quite often just to pick up rocks or whatever around, and you can throw them in the back there. And then there is a lever right here, and there's another one on the other side. Same location over here. You can lift that up and the box will dump. So as you can see, this machine can come in pretty handy, and it's a shame. I don't even know if they're making it right now. I know they switched to the think it was in 2021, either 20 or 21, they upgraded body styles for the 450s and 570s. Last I knew, they had not upgraded the Touring or well, the Touring they still make, I believe. It's just the older body style like this one. The X2, last I checked, they weren't even making it. So I hope they bring it back. It's a great machine. Okay, the other configuration, you can put this in is a 2-up configuration. This seat folds down, or this backrest folds down into a seat for the second rider, and then in this compartment right here, there is another backrest that pops up for the second rider. So what you do here is there is this lever here. You flip that over. You flip this one over. This is just my opinion, but I feel like this is where Polaris cheaped out a little bit on this design. My old 08 700 X2, I felt like had a little better design as far as these latches here go, but it does work. It just seems a little cheap. But so anyway, you take that, you unlock those, push this ahead a little bit, and pull this up. Okay, so after you do that, this seat pops down just like that. And then this pulls up to be a backrest for the rider. So then you've got yourself a 2-up machine. It does work great. We've had a rider, my wife has sat on one of these on multiple trips. It does work. I will say the Touring is way more comfortable for that second rider as compared to this one. Now, if you're just you know, driving it around here on smooth country roads, it's not that big of a deal. But that Touring is much more comfortable for the rider. All right, so let's take a look at the tires here. So these are Kenda Bear Claw HTRs. I run these tires on all of my machines. My son has a Sportsman 450, and he just put a set of Sun Fs on there, which are a kind of an off-brand of the Maxxis Bighorn, I believe. But these Kenda Bear Claws HTRs, I really like them. I put these tires on about a month after I bought the machine in 2019. Bought this in May of 2019, and so I put these on in June. So this machine would have had probably 650 miles on it or so when I put these tires on. Now has 3,200 on it, and as you can see, I still got a lot of life left in these tires. The grooves back here are almost gone, to where it's almost just the knobs are just kind of flat instead of having these grooves in it like those do. But still got a lot of tread left in these, and they've been a great tire. Really good for just general trail riding, rock climbing, going through some mud puddles here and there. Probably not the best tire for heavy mudding, but for what we do, they're about perfect. Okay guys, got it up on the lift here. Let's take a quick look at the wheels, see if there's any play in them, and just kind of see how things look there. So start with this wheel here. So I feel just a tiny bit of play in this wheel. I don't really think it's anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, it's really pretty tight. CV axle looks good there. This one has a little bit more play in it. I'd say that one probably has a little wear in it. Here in the next year or two, might have to do some wheel bearings on that one. I believe it is. The slop that is in it is in the wheel bearing. I don't think I see any play in the bushings themselves. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but just a little bit of play in that wheel. Check out the fronts here. Just a real small amount of play in that one. And check out the other front one. This is probably the best one out of them all. It doesn't have really any play whatsoever. So overall, not too bad for a machine with 3,200 miles on it. Like I say, this machine has had a lot of miles in the mountains, kind of rough terrain, so it's been used. We've had it to the Black Hills, it's been to Colorado at least twice, it's been to Arkansas at least twice. It's seen a lot of rocks and boulders and water crossings and mud, so little wear is to be expected. Okay, we'll take a little closer look underneath here and see if we can see anything else. I did notice I've got a very slight bend in this A-arm right here. I must have hit a pretty good sized boulder at one point. Just put a real slight tweak in that thing. I'm not too worried about it. CV axle here, this is one of the new ones we put in. Really no excessive play at all there. It's the other new one we put in, about the same. Look at the rears here, if I can get in there. That one is tight. There's no play. No play in that one. Take a look at this one. That one's tight as well. So overall, pretty good there. I do try to keep all the bushings greased. You know, I at least do it once every year, and then if I take it to Arkansas or something and it sees a lot of water, I'll go grease them again just to push any of that water back out. All right, guys, so here's the oil that I run in these machines. This is a Mobil 1 5W50. Our local auto parts store keeps this on hand. It's not cheap, but it is a lot cheaper than the Polaris branded stuff. I do still use Polaris branded AGL for the rear differential and transmission, and I do use Polaris brand demand drive fluid for the front differential. I used to use this AMSOIL powertrain fluid. It's good for the front and rear, but it's really not any cheaper. You know, you have to pay to ship it in, and good stuff. It's just I can go to my local Polaris dealership and get this stuff pretty easy. All right, guys, that pretty well covers it. Like I said, overall, this has been a really great machine. It's been well maintained, but it's also been used pretty hard. It's been over some rough terrain, and it's handled everything really well. So I really can't complain whatsoever.